You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 13th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts. We bring into studio each week the best of the best in all areas regarding your financing. And it's to help you in today's economy. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, Gupta of D Coaching. Are you ready to be in a relationship? Dee, thank you so much. You come in and visit us like on a quarterly basis, and it's always fun to hear your new topic that you're bringing in. And so thank you. It's great to see you again.
Thank you for having me over.
Yes, a little bit about Dee. Dee is a part-time coach and full-time rental property business owner who has done extensive study on emotional growth. Her perspective is that you are where you are choosing to be in life. Your financial status, the quality of your life that you live, and the relationships with friends and family or your significant other, everything is either where you want it to be or where your belief level is of where you want that to be. The stage of personal growth you are at in each area of your life determines on where you are at in that area. You cannot make more money than you believe that you can make. You cannot have a better relationship than you believe you're capable of having, and your belief in your own worthiness in each area of your life sets the tone for where you are. And D helps break those ceilings. So true.
So true. D, are you in a relationship? That's bringing a lot of people, perking a lot of ears out there. I know even some of my friends probably aren't the answer to that question. Who are you specifically talking about, and who's going to benefit from that specific topic?
So this topic is meant for anybody who is afraid of being in a relationship or who has this belief system that I am not ready to be in a relationship right now because I need to work on myself first. This topic is going to specifically address those people.
Perfect. So, Dee, what do you say to people who say that they are not ready to be in a relationship?
What I would say is, what is a relationship? A relationship is any one human being relating to any other human being or like a bunch of other human beings. So how do you learn how to ride a bike? It's by actually riding a bike. You cannot read about riding a bike and learn how to do it. Mm-hmm. How do you learn how to swim? You actually jump in the pool. You cannot watch videos to learn how to swim. How do you learn how to be in a relationship? You jump in and have a relationship. You cannot learn about relationships by working on yourself or being alone. The only way you're going to be able to learn how to deal with other people is by actually being with other people and working through those issues.
Yeah, and so how scary that is if you really think about the words that you're using. I'm not ready to be in a relationship, or I don't want to be in a relationship, and how many times you might repeat that through the process with loved ones or friends that you're talking to, and it really is not meaning that you don't want to have relationships with anybody. You don't want to be in a serious relationship with that serious commitment, but what you're actually putting out there in the universe and attaching to your brain that's there to protect you, which we've talked with both of our coaches prior to D, is that you don't want to be in relationships. And so such a responsibility to ourselves and how we communicate and talk to ourselves, and we voice out.
So I have a lot of friends, and I reference my friends in this conversation because me and Angela have been together for like 10 years, so I have no idea. But for my friends, because they confide in me. We're boys. It's what we do. They always like, it's important to kind of work on myself, right? And there's never like a specific timeline for that. It's just kind of like a couple of years later, nope, I'm still working working on myself. Like, is there some importance to that? What is your response into somebody that's working on themselves?
It is absolutely crucial to work on ourselves. Of course, we're constantly working on ourselves. That does not mean in any way that you cannot be in a relationship with someone else, because like you said, it's a never-ending process and you're going to be working on yourself for the rest of your life if you're growth-minded. Then having a relationship can be with someone who is at a similar level as you are in your personal growth. So it is going to be harder for you to find somebody who is way above you in the personal development world to relate to, but you will be able to find people at your level, and together you will be able to grow if you so choose.
Yeah, and that's what so true. I think you need to have a mentor in your life that is way ahead that you want to get to, but you also have to have that camaraderie, and that's a peer that's at a close level than you.
Right.
And you also want to be contributing and helping, but you've got to be really careful in how far level down that you go, because you have to be high enough yourself and confidence enough in the message that you have for yourself that you're not going to get taken down by those people. Does that make sense, Dee?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's talk about failing and failing multiple times. What do you do then?
So some people have a mental block that they've been married multiple times, 3 times, 4 times, and they're like, I've done this many times, I can't do this again. Or some people are like, I've been in many relationships over my life and I've never been married because they've all failed. Or I have been married plus been in a relationship and plus been in long relationships and it's just not worked. So what do I do then? And the response that I have for something like that is, when we start off by learning math in the beginning, we start off by learning how to write numbers, and then we learn how to add, and then we learn how to do, I don't know, trigonometry or whatever.
I never really learned that, but
Well,
that's okay.
if you choose. So it is the same with relationships. It's possible that somebody might figure it out from college and be married for the rest of their lives already. Many times it's not that easy for us, and we need to learn different levels and try and fail and try and fail and keep going at it so that we can build ourselves up so that eventually we find whatever it is we're looking for.
Yeah, it's an important part of the process. You're taking a little step back so that you can move a step further, but a little step further is bigger than the step back. Yeah, you've got to fail through the process to get there.
Right.
Well, and I can speak to, even when you're there, I mean, it's not going to be perfect. You're going to
It
never is. You're going to have
No.
disagreements, and you have to work through that too. And then you learn from that, right? And you
Absolutely.
grow. And so there's just no perfect way to do it besides just have the
Doing
right
it.
intention and do it, right?
Yes.
Well, like our first coach, Rayanne, talks about, I mean, it's important for the growth process. The brain, you're always improving and always growing. And when you stop improving and stop growing, you stop living. And,
Absolutely.
So pretty sad place to be.
Love it. So what about knowing that you have the right partner, Dee? I know everybody probably at some point in their mind, when you come in those tough times, do I have this right partner? What is the perfect partner?
So there is this book called Principles by Ray Dalio that I'm reading, and plus I've been hearing other things as well. So in the financial world, the way you make investments is you measure the risk to reward ratio. So if the risk is lower and the reward is higher, then you jump in. So most of the really good investors fail more often than they succeed, sometimes many more times than they succeed. But Ray Dalio is a billionaire, and that is because he measures the risk to reward. And if the risk to reward is lower, even though he's failing way more times, the successes make him much richer.
Yeah.
So I would use the same principles with relationships as well. You check the risk to reward, and you guess at it. You're not going to be perfect at it. This is just like investments. Emotions are way more complicated than investments. And you guess at it, and you make those decisions, and you jump in. And the more you try, the more you're going to be able to learn that this is a risk, or this is a bigger risk than I thought it was, or this is a bigger reward than I thought it was. And you're going to be able to make those. So you don't know if the person is the right one. You experiment, you explore, you learn along the way.
And that's really great advice, Dee. And I love that because I've never thought about that in a relationship scenario. I mean, we hear about your pros and cons. Make the list of what's important to you and things that you need to have. And so I love that in this. And I would take it a step further and make sure that you're actually kind of looking at that at least 3 times and seeing if you can take from one thing that you write down and expand from that over. And once you've gone through that a few times, if you can't come up with something else, then you've pretty much nailed it. But yeah, that's a great advice. So are there, or what scenarios, because of course there are some scenarios, what scenarios would be that someone should not be in a relationship, a close relationship with like a significant other right now at all?
Yeah, there would definitely be some scenarios like that. So we make conscious choices like the previous guests spoke about. We're making conscious choices all the time about what we want. Mm-hmm. And if we're coming not from a place of fear of I don't want to be in a relationship because I'm going to be hurt, but instead we're coming from a place of I don't want to be in a relationship because I want to focus on my career, and right now I want to be at the next promotion level. I want to start my business, and I want to get my business to a stable position before I have a relationship, or I have a sick family member that I need to take care of, or there could be many other reasons. And if we're consciously choosing to focus on other things in our lives, then of course it's perfectly okay. What I am talking about is more for people who are saying, I need to work on myself, and that's why I need to not be in a relationship, because to me that feels like a cop-out.
Yes, yeah.
What's beautiful, though, is when you have a partner that supports you a lot. Like, shout out to Angela, my other half. She's
Angie
amazing.
Dave.
And there you go. They enhance me as a person in my career. So it can work that way, too. So maybe you need to jump in and find a partner that really appreciates you and pushes you to be a better version of yourself as well.
There you go.
Right? Look at that.
Well, you're doing so good today,
I don't know what it is. Something got into me today.
It's because we're surrounded around coaches. So
I guess so.
Can't help but be inspired.
I'm inspired. So what advice, Dee, would you give someone who is afraid of being in a relationship?
Well, it is scary to be in a relationship. It is full of rejections from the first moment on. Is the person going to swipe left or swipe right? Or is the person actually going to meet me? Is the person, once you're in the relationship, is the person going to meet my needs, or is the person going to reject? It is full of rejection and full of scary things. But what I would say is, it is absolutely worth it. Like you said, your wife supports you with everything that you do, and all the joys you feel, all the wins you have, feel almost meaningless unless you can have somebody to share it with in a meaningful way. So take one step at a time and just allow yourself to jump in.
Yeah, and sitting here as your host, 23 years of marriage, thank gosh I don't have to swipe right and swipe left. But I do want to give advice as we wrap up our time here with our last guest. When it comes to relationships, I always say to come from a place of love, accountability, and acceptance. Love really means that you come a place, and this doesn't matter what relationship. It could be a coworker, it could be your spouse, it could be a sibling, a parent. Come from a place of genuine love, that person. And then acceptance is to accept that person for whoever they are. Now, we're void, or you have to take out an abusive situation. That's a whole nother conversation. But unless it's something that you're in danger, accept them and that situation for whatever it is, in totalness, that you can come from the best place. And then accountability, and that's the biggest one. The accountability is for you. How are you going to react in this second to this moment in something that is not going the way that you want to go when it has to do in a relationship? And I tell you, it's a magical thing, and we would not be married for 23 years. I would not be together with my husband right now if I couldn't have figured out to come from a place of love and acceptance and accountability. So again, I offered a complimentary copy of my book that's in there. If you want it, call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com, and I'd love to give you a copy. Dee, thank you again for coming in here. It's always a pleasure to have you. And again, it was just a really special show with, I got to give the shout out one more time, 3 women and a Keelan. That could be a show on its own. 3 women. Well, actually, it's not 3 women and a Keelan. It's 4 women and a Keelan. I forgot to count myself. We've got 4 women and a Keelan. So
5,
that is
Victoria, 5.
Well, Victoria behind the scenes. Yeah.
Got you,
we're
Victoria,
just,
don't worry.
well, we've got 2 guys. Gary's in here. Gary is actually our engineer. Is telling us we need to wrap it up now. This is your host, Tina Mitchell.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll be here same time, same place next weekend.